Hey guys, it's Brandon.
And Carrie.
The idea of there's nothing new under the sun rings true to this topic I want to discuss, which is the division in which the enemy uses to divide and conquer through separation of ideals, morals, vernacular, uh, all of it. They want to divide the true man from each other so that they can't help each other exit this system and then thus closing it down, leaving it with no batteries. So what I am seeing in different channels, groups, what have you, is people are getting lost in the vernacular, which we just talked about in our last video. Yet it's all a division, or it's all a tactic of division. And so I want to get into that just a little bit. And Carrie, I'll enjoy what you have to say on this.
That's actually something I really like to talk about is the division. I think the main thing with division is that in most cases it is intended to weaken the strength of the wholeness. Allegedly, according to the Greek mythologies, Zeus said, I will split them in half to weaken them because we were too powerful as the wholenesses that we were. And so that was where, and I don't even think that was the first, but it was in a series of many other subsequent splitting and division. So division splits into division. So it can be di as in meaning two. So double vision, if you will, which is a copy, and then the inversion of that copy. And it could be die as in death to the vision, as a vision being like a, I don't want to use the word dream, but a memory.
Diversion.
Diversion.
Any bad guy in these kid shows and games, they always slit or cut off the head or cut off the arms or the legs of the enemy, then separating that enemy.
Right, that's true. And so I think that there's a lot to be said about division, and that's in the negative sense. In the positive sense, because we're in duality, there's going to be two sides of it. We have to have division. That's a sort of discernment, and it rightly divides truth and error. So whatever is in error that we have bought into over the years through whatever methodology that may be, those things need to be cut off. They need to be divided off of us. We need to be split off from those things.
Which is the divine, the splitting of the vine.
Right.
Which should, in my opinion, should be duh, as in, or
D,
divine,
yeah.
like D-A, like the vine, which would be solid and whole, as opposed to split in multiple directions.
Right, or D-E, divine,
yeah,
would be, in Spanish, D-E means of, so of the vine, so of a common vine, and then it goes back to. But what came to me the other day was that, in the word S-O-N, son, not being gender, but it's being the image of the imageless or ineffable oneness. With it, from that word comes song, comes sonnet, comes sound, comes a variety of different things that are involved in that.
You also have nous, like N-O-S, like gnosis, knowledge, truth.
And song, and if you flip the word song around backward, it's nous, G-N-O-S.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a knowing in these sounds, in these frequencies, and I think that ties us back into, we return ultimately to the frequency that we resonate the most like. And so that goes back to the purity and the purification and the cutting off or dividing off the things that have been layered upon us to keep us retained in this system. Everything here decomposes, whereas their sound frequencies can be songs. It all has to do with compositions. And then when we come here into death, this whole thing is about decomposing. Everything that has come into this area decomposes. It doesn't matter what it is.
Everything, top to
Absolutely
bottom.
everything decomposes, and at different rates, at different levels, and it descends as it decomposes and turns into heavier and more dense matter. And so, with this decomposition, then it makes sense that they decompose us because we are the ones that were singing when this creation came forth, because we're the ones that brought it forth, as far as I'm concerned, out of our own ignorance that such horrid things would be going on here. I think we thought we were truly doing the right things, but they needed our power, our ability to make a system in death where they could have animation, even though it's for a period of time. Uh, and we were the ones that I think assisted in this, innocently so. And then when they were pretty much done with us, then they uh, did the inversion. And the inversion I was shown the other day is that where we should be the ones freely able to travel and with no one over us, they have sunken us into these bodies, talked us into getting into these, put us in this dense reality, and they have usurped our titles, our identities, by pretending to be who we really are, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like I don't know if I've said it on this channel or not, but it's the story of truth and lies. It's like two guys sitting on an island outside of their village, and they're talking at the edge of the water of this island. And Lies says he challenges Truth to a bet. He says, "I bet you I can beat you to that other island over there by swimming faster than you." Truth says, "No, you can't." So what they do is they agree to do this competition, and Truth says 3, 2, 1, and jumps into the water. Well, Lies doesn't. They both remove their clothes. Truth starts swimming to the other island, and while Truth is doing that, Lies puts on Truth's clothes and heads back to the village. Well, Truth gets back to the main island in which they started the competition from, and puts on Lie's clothes because there are no other clothes to be found. And he's like, I can't go back to town naked. So he walks to town, Truth does, in Lie's clothes. Meanwhile, Lies in Truth's clothes is telling everybody this and that and the other. Well, when Truth gets there, he is not recognized. He's looked at as the lie.
Mm-hmm.
And so nobody believes him. So he gets pushed out of the society, and who gets to reign? Lies does, wearing Truth's clothes.
Yep.
Wolf in sheep's clothing. Same thing over and over.
And that's why it's so important to have our discernment sharp and not dulled by substance or any habits or things that control our way of thinking, or things that we I call it worship. I don't know any other word for it. It's things that we would.
It's a lack nature. I think it's a lustful lack nature.
Yeah, things that we would give our life to go live. Oh, it's got so important for me to go see this concert. It's, my hero or whatever, and those types of things. I mean, I don't know how many of us still do that or not, but it doesn't matter.
At this point, the truthing community, I don't think any of us do.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's probably true.
That makes me think of like if I wanted to control somebody being the bad guy, I would want them to be in a lack-based system so that they have to need something from me. Thus, then the idea of Stockholm Syndrome comes into play, because they're always seeking outside of themselves for that nourishment, which I can then provide as the bad guy, and I'll keep coming back more and more, because they don't realize what they are and what they can do will overpower me so quickly.
Well, that's like we watched the movie Tao last night about an AI program and a guy that was kidnapping humans to use as test subjects to finalize his AI insert. And so Tao was the computer program, and it was asking one of the prisoners if it was a person and different series of questions, but it came back with so Tal was in this conversation with the girl, and she was asking him why did he obey Alex, who was the mean creator, and he said because he's my creator. And he asked, don't you obey your creator? And she said, well, not really, not all the time, as in her parents. But it really struck home with me because we were always taught when I grew up that how much we were loved by this God and all this and that, but yet the same stroke, it was killing thousands and millions because he'd tell him to go and number the troops, and he did, and then they killed them because he went and numbered them and didn't pay the tax right on them or something. And
totally.
So, it goes right back to the Stockholm syndrome of making heroes out of zeros, that these things torment and torture and try to get that energy level up, which was something interesting that was brought out in the movie, was that the best subjects for the AI interface were the ones that had been more heavily traumatized early on in life. And it was a pretty good movie. I would recommend it.
So again, what lie wants to do is to separate you from truth and keep you in the dark about it. The quote, "Don't bite the hand that feeds," comes to mind. Well, that hand isn't feeding me, and it hasn't for a while, given if anybody knows my story. But I don't need to be fed by that hand because I'm being fed by spirit, which it can't comprehend because it is so split off or separated from that truth.
It has nothing in common with it.
It has nothing in common with it.
So they want to present to us this false unity by reconnecting us with the lies and adding more layers of the lies that in reality take us further from the real truth by substituting a version of truth that has just enough real truth in it that it seems plausible. And if we're not sharp in our discernment, it's easy to fall for it. And they know this. And that's why they keep adding on layer after layer so that we can keep going around and around, because they know we're very curious by nature. And so they add to that and keep trying to bring us further away from real truth. And that's where we have to have division within ourselves to push that stuff away. But they want division between each of us in the ways of fightings and arguing and spying and things like that, so that we don't talk like we are now, because they know that a threefold cord is not easily broken. There is power in the strength of two, and all of these things do make sense. So they offer a false singularity that we're supposed to be overjoyed with dissipating into nothingness. Still doesn't appeal to me at all. And you can still be like-minded with other people and retain your individuality, which I think is foundational for where we come from in the is.
So imagine a world where they had a person that was a true man that they want to label Jesus or Christ, and that was a big problem for him because he spoke truth, the true man. Now imagine another world where you had, 5, 10, 15, 20 true men, not men as in male and female, as a being speaking the truth. Think how much that would upset this place. And think how many holes it would poke on the matrix or all of this. They couldn't stop that. And so once we stand in that power, that truth, this is why I call him true man, because he was truly a man, and again, not male.
Species.
Yeah, a species. And just imagine. So, guys, I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. We're going to continue to pump these out, and we look forward to hearing from you in the comments. See ya.
Bye-bye.